This is Lesson 8, Number 10, How If-Else Statements Work. With an if-else statement, you are giving an either-or command. Either the lines of code inside the if will execute, or the lines inside the else will execute. Those are the options. You saw in the video how to add an else clause to an if statement. Hit the little plus symbol on the tail of the if statement. So right there. Inside the curly braces for the else clause, you put lines of code that you want to run if the Boolean condition from the if statement is false. So here's the condition. If it's true, we run this the first section of code. Otherwise, we skip it, and if it's false, and we run the other section of code. But only one of these two sections of code gets run, the true part or the false part. Some important notes about the else clause. The else must come immediately after the closing curly brace of an if statement. The else also has its own set of opening and closing curly braces to encapsulate lines of code. So you can see here's the opening curly brace for the if, and then it's closing. And then immediately comes the else with its opening curly brace and then ending with its closing curly brace. Considering our flowchart from before, until now, we haven't had a way to make the program do something different if the condition was false. With an if-else statement, we do. We can now write a program that branches at a particular point, running one of two possible sections of code. So here's our flowchart. Ask the user how old they are. Is age 18 or older? If it is, then we display you can vote. If it isn't, then we display sorry you can't vote, and then we continue with the next line of code. A worked example. Lines of code execute sequentially as usual. Prompt the user to enter their age. How old are you? Prompt num. Store it in the variable age. The if statement and Boolean expression are also the same as before. The expression evaluates to either true or false. So age greater than or equal to 18. And if that's true, we do these two lines of code. Otherwise, we skip them and we do this line of code. But if these are true, then we skip the else part. Only one of these two sections of code gets run. With an if-else statement, you are guaranteeing that exactly one of these two sections of code will execute. If the condition is true, age is 18 or greater, then the lines of code inside the if statement's curly braces are executed. If the if statement is false, it jumps to the else clause and execute any lines of code it finds between the else clause's curly braces. Finally, the program picks up normal execution directly after the if-else block. At this point in the program, we know that either the code in the if block or the else block has executed.